The crowd wasn't cheering. Not yet. They were frozen. Sun blaze of a pool, balloons floating like battlefield wreckage, and in the center of it all stood the HOA woman. Dripping wet, mascara running, bright pink suit clinging like shattered authority. One hand trembled around soggy eviction papers, the other reaching toward a girl offering her a cupcake as peace. Kids splashed behind them. Neighbors watched like history was happening in chlorine and sunlight. A day ago they were enemies. Now the future of an entire neighborhood hinged on one trembling choice. Forgive or keep fighting. The father, the same man she tried to evict, stood across from her, daughter on his hip, eyes soft but unbroken. Silence held its breath. Was this where control ended, or where community healed? Before we get here, before the balloons, the court, the rebellion, the pink suit soaked in defeat, you needn't know how it all began, and why Willow Creek had to fight for joy. Now rewind with me, back to the morning the neighborhood was peaceful, before the war started. The sun hung over Willow Creek, like a bright coin in a clear summer sky, and the whole neighborhood breathed warmth. Lawns shone like polished emerald. Sprinklers ticked rhythmically. Kids chased each other barefoot across pavement still warm from the morning light. It felt like the kind of day no one could ruin, the kind meant for laughter, music, and water sparkling under summer air. That day was special. IT was Lila's 9th birthday. Her father, Daniel Reyes, had been up since dawn inflating pool floats, flamingos, sharks, donuts, even a giant pizza slice. His backyard looked like a cartoon exploded in paradise. Tables draped in sky blue cloth, trays of snacks stacked high, juice coolers full of clinking ice blocks, a 2-tier cake waiting under a colorful umbrella. A speaker played soft summer pop songs, nothing loud, just enough for fun to find rhythm in the air. Kids splashed, screaming joy like fireworks across the pool. Confetti cannons popped. Lila, tiny, bright-eyed, hair tied in wild birthday curls, paddled across the water with goggles like treasure hunter, searching for the world's last secret. For Daniel, this wasn't just a birthday. It was proof that life could still be bright after losing so much. He had spent 2 long years learning how to smile again, how to wake up without his wife beside him, how to braid their daughter's hair the way Mom used to, how to keep moving. This party wasn't just for Lila. It was for him. It was a promise. We're still here. We're still living. The first 2 hours went perfectly. Guests arrived with gifts wrapped in glitter. Laughter spread like sunlight, and not a single person checked their phone. A rare miracle in the modern world. Someone put grilled corn on skewers. Someone else roasted marshmallows, even though it was daylight. Nobody cared. Joy had no rules today. But rules were coming, and they weren't invited. It began subtly, like weather changing before anyone senses it. A hush trickled across the fence line. Not silence, just a disturbance, like wind shifting wrong. One child paused mid, water splash, eyes drifting toward the gate. A mother lowered her drink. Someone's laughter died as if stolen from their throat. Daniel turned, and there she was, the HOA woman, bright pink pantsuit, slick hair pulled back like tension itself, clipboard held like a weapon. Her shoes, pointed, polished, sharp, tapped against pavement slower than footsteps should. She didn't rush. She didn't speak. She absorbed the scene like she hated color itself. The music softened automatically, though no one touched the speaker. Conversation staggered. Lila stopped paddling. Even the pool water seemed to still. Daniel walked toward her, wiping sunscreen from his hands, smile polite but strained. Afternoon. Can I help? She raised one hand, palm out, like stopping an attack. No music above HOA limit. No water activity, without event permit. No gatherings exceeding 8. Her voice held no emotion, no warmth, no flexibility. Just a law disguised as a woman. Daniel blinked. It's just a birthday. Violation, notice one. She clipped a pink slip to his fence. Kids stared. Parents exchanged glances. Someone whispered, "Already?" HOA woman lifted her chin, eyes scanning like a predator searching for weakness. Bring noise down, or this event becomes an infraction. She turned. She left without waiting for response. But her presence stayed, like a storm that hasn't rained yet. Daniel looked at that pink violation sheet. Paper practically glowing against wood. A single piece of paper shouldn't have power, but it did. Still, he shook it off for his daughter's sake. Music was lowered. Guests resumed. Joy tried to rebuild itself with trembling hands. But storms always return. And this one brought sirens. It happened just as cake candles were lit. Red and blue reflections rippled across pool water. turning blue waves into warning lights. A police car rolled up slow, like regret wearing wheels. A hush fell again, deeper this time, heavier. 2 officers stepped out, uncomfortable, like they already knew they were ruining something innocent. One officer cleared his throat. Noise complaint. Reported by HOA. People looked around, confusion, annoyance, hurt. Lila held her cake knife midair, candles flickering like hope and wind. Daniel stepped forward. It's just a child's birthday. Officer sighed. We know, but we're required to respond. Pink suit HOA woman appeared behind them, like a ghost materializing. She hadn't left. She'd been waiting, watching. She held her clipboard like victory. Shut the party down. Gasps. Mothers pulled kids from pool. Music cut dead mid-chorus. Laughter died. The cake was moved away untouched. Candles whispering smoke like sadness rising. And Lila, birthday girl, just stood there dripping pool water and confusion. Daddy, what did we do wrong? Daniel's heart cracked. He knelt, wiped water from her cheeks, or maybe they were tears. You did nothing wrong. His voice trembled. This is about control, not noise. HOA woman narrowed her eyes, hearing him but not caring. One more violation, she said, and your pool permit will be revoked for the season. She walked away with the police, following reluctantly, like shadows chained to command. Gate shut, joy shut with it. After guests left, not angry, just disappointed, Daniel cleaned alone. Balloons deflated like defeated lungs. Plates stacked cold. Sprinkles melted into concrete. Music speakers sat silent, powered off like a heart refusing to beat. Lila sat under a blanket on patio chair, shivering though air was warm. Why does she hate fun? She asked quietly. Daniel looked at the sky instead of her face, because rage lived behind his eyes and children shouldn't see that yet. She doesn't hate fun, he replied slowly. She hates losing control. Silence formed like ice. Then came the second knock. Soft, slow, intentional. Daniel opened the door and found no one, just an envelope taped to his porch light. Inside was a message handwritten in black ink. You're not alone. If you want to fight back, meet us at sunrise. Lot 22. Garden shed. No phones. No name. No signature. Just invitation or provocation. Daniel's pulse quickened. Revenge? Alliance? Trap? The night crawled slow, like thoughts chewing his mind. He tucked Lila into bed, kissed her hair, promised happiness would return. But sleep avoided him like truth avoids those afraid to face it. He lay awake, replaying every second, the pink suit to shut down the tears. Some people break quietly. Others burn quietly. But Daniel? He was starting to boil. Morning cracked open with golden light. Warm, gentle, full of possibilities. But Daniel walked with fists in pockets, jaw tight, mind sharp. He reached Lot 22, the garden shed, with faded vines crawling like secrets around its frame. He opened the door. Inside were 6 neighbors. 5 adults. 1 teenager. All with faces tired, like people who've lost too many small battles. A man with gray beard stepped forward. You had a party shut down yesterday. He didn't ask, he stated, like everyone knew. Daniel nodded slowly. The man smiled. Small but dangerous. Good. Then you understand why we're here. Another woman chimed in, voice wired with frustration. She's done this for years. Weddings, birthdays, charity drives, even a baby shower. She ruins joy like it's her hobby. A mother added, last month she shut down a lemonade stand. A lemonade stand. Daniel felt anger melt embarrassment. It wasn't just him. He wasn't alone. But then the teenager, quiet till now, leaned forward. I have an idea. Something they'll never forget. Everyone turned. He held up a water balloon, bright blue, glowing in sunlight like a tiny ocean in his palm. The room fell silent. Then slowly, smiles spread like rebellion finding oxygen. It was stupid. It was childish. It was perfect. Revenge that hurt no one, but humiliated everyone who deserved it. Tomorrow, the teen said, eyes shining. We flood them. 50 people. 1,000 balloons. Daylight. No mercy. And for the first time since the party died, Daniel laughed. Not forced. Not broken. But alive. It began with whispers, barely audible, but everywhere. By sunrise, Willow Creek wasn't a peaceful neighborhood anymore. It was a pressure cooker waiting for the lid to blow. Daniel walked home from the secret shed meeting with more adrenaline than sleep in his veins. Dew clung to grass. Birds scattered across rooftops. The sun rose like a spotlight over a stage where something big was about to happen. Tomorrow would be war. But before war, there must be preparation. Daniel's kitchen smelled like coffee and anxiety. He poured milk into Lila's cereal. But his mind wasn't here. It was in balloons, buckets, battle plans. His fingers tapped table were like drum beats preparing for combat. Lila watched him, curious, cautious. Dad. He blinked back into the room. Huh? Yeah. She tilted her head. You're smiling weird, like you swallowed a secret. He froze, because she wasn't wrong. He ruffled her hair. Maybe I did. She leaned closer, whisper sharp. Is it about the lady in pink? He exhaled slowly. Children see more than adults admit. Daniel didn't answer, but his silence was enough. Lila grinned like mischief had a heartbeat. By noon, Daniel made his rounds. One house at a time. One conversation at a time. Some doors opened wide with relief. Others cracked like fear lived behind them. House number 11, an old couple watering roses. When Daniel explained, the wife pressed a finger to trembling lip. She fined us for planting tulips, she whispered. Said they broke color harmony. House number 34, a single father on his porch. She banned my kid skateboard. He hasn't smiled in months. House number 5, a quiet woman holding a newborn. She threatened eviction over a wind chime. Each story added fuel. Each voice added numbers. Each anger added strength. The list grew fast. 7, 14, 22. Unity builds like avalanches. Small at start, unstoppable at momentum. By late afternoon, Daniel stood at the center of his living room. A whiteboard full of names behind him. Balloons scattered across floor like ammunition. Neighbors buzzing like bees preparing hive defense. One man raised hand. What if she calls police again? We could get arrested. A woman countered with fire. Better arrested than controlled. The room roared approval. Even Daniel felt it now. Something fierce and alive. A rebellion shaped like joy. Across the street, behind tinted office glass, HOA woman in bright pink watched everything. Her jaw was sharp enough to slice silence. Her fingernails tapped desk with like countdown. Tap, tap, tap. You think balloons will scare me? She murmured. Beside her computer sat a drawer, locked, metal cold, label faded. Property authority, level red. She touched it lightly, like petting a sleeping animal. Let them play, she whispered. The smile that followed wasn't human warmth. It was something colder. She wasn't afraid. She was prepared. Willow Creek transformed under darkness. Garages glowed with light. Families tied water balloons like ritual. Kids filled buckets giggling like conspirators. Old men tested water guns like soldiers checking rifles. It was ridiculous. It was childish. It was revolutionary. At 9 p.m., Daniel stood on his porch. The street was quiet, but not asleep. Curtains twitched. Text messages buzzed. Plans throbbed like storm pulse. He checked supply. 1,200 water balloons, 35 water guns for inflatable pools filled as storage tanks, 1 GoPro for evidence, 50 determined neighbors. Rebellion never looked so neon and childish, but every balloon was loaded with frustration of years. Daniel closed garage door gently. And then, a voice behind him. You really think this will work? He turned. A police officer stood at his gate. Badge visible. Hands empty. Officer Hayes, young, quiet, eyes too kind for uniform. Daniel stiffened. If you're here to stop us. I'm not. The officer stepped closer, lowering voice. She has connections we don't understand. City council, zoning power. Even judges listen when she speaks. Last time someone fought her, he swallowed hard. They moved out. For sale. Daniel felt air turn heavy. Fear arrives silently, but stays loud. You're saying we'll lose? Officer Hayes shook his head. I'm saying be careful. You're not fighting a woman. You're fighting a system with teeth. Then he smirked. But I'll be there, badge or not. He walked away, leaving tension like thunderclouds over Daniel's spine. This rebellion would not be safe. But some battles aren't meant to be safe. They're meant to be necessary. Next morning cracked open too bright, like the sun had been paid to watch. Kids gathered first, backpacks full of balloons. Teens came next, GoPros mounted, ready to record. Parents armed themselves with super soakers like swords. Lila stood small but fierce, goggles on forehead like war crown. Daniel looked around, heart climbing ribs. This wasn't a party anymore. This was a movement. He raised his voice, steady, calm, burning. Today we don't fight with anger. We fight with joy. We fight with color. We fight to remind them we are alive. Cheers cracked pavement. Adrenaline tasted like electricity. Daniel counted down. 5, 4, 3. Suddenly, a car door slammed. Everyone whipped toward sound. HOA woman stepped out, bright pink suit glowing like war paint. No clipboard. No smile. Just eyes sharp as broken glass. She scanned the crowd, unshaken. You think balloons will change anything? Silence. Her voice cut air like blade. You don't know who I am. And then, she reached into her blazer pocket and pulled out a stack of eviction forms. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. One for every house. Wind flapped them like wings of threat. Gasps. Whispers. Fear shivered through crowd like cold water. Lila clutched Daniel's hand, tiny fingers trembling. Daniel's heart pounded loud enough to be heard. This wasn't just party revenge. This had skin, teeth, consequences. Pink Woman wasn't an obstacle. She was a storm. Morning arrived like it was holding its breath. No birdsong. No lawnmowers. No laughter. Just silence stretched across Willow Creek, like a tight wire ready to snap. Daniel stood in his driveway, hands wrapped around a garden hose like soldiers wrap fingers around rifles. Beside him, a baby pool filled with blue, green, pink, and neon water balloons, each one cold and trembling like waiting ammunition. 40 neighbors assembled behind him, 10 more approaching from down the street. Kids in swim goggles, teenagers with GoPros strapped to their foreheads, parents armed with super soakers pumping pressure with shaking fists. Today was not just revenge. Today was Judgment Day. Lila, small, fierce, stood beside him holding a mini water launcher almost bigger than her. Her birthday crown from yesterday sat over her wet curls, tilted like a warrior queen who refused to be forgotten. Daniel knelt to her level. You ready? She nodded once, slow, fearless. If she ruined my birthday, she whispered, we ruin her silence. He almost choked on pride. This wasn't just a child. This was legacy. At exactly 11 a.m., the HOA office door opened, and she stepped out, the pink suit woman, bright, unbothered, unbreakable looking. Her heels hit pavement like countdown bombs. Tap, tap, tap. She wasn't alone. 2 HOA board members flanked her like guards, one holding forms, one holding a body cam for evidence. Their faces blank, not human, just authority wearing skin. Pink Woman raised her voice like she owned the air. This neighborhood will follow rules. There will be no protests, no gatherings, no. Splash. A water balloon hit her shoulder, exploded in crystal spray. She froze. Slowly, very slowly, turned her head. A teenage girl stood 20 yards away holding an empty balloon shell like a smoking gun. Silence shattered, because suddenly 50 balloons flew at once. A sky of color, a storm of water, rainbow bullets raining from every hand. Pink Woman lifted clipboard like shield, but too late. Boom, boom, splash. Pink turned darker as water-soaked fabric. Her hair fell loose. Mascara streaked like claw marks down her cheeks. Someone yelled. For Lila's birthday, war cries erupted. Kids charged with water guns firing streams. Parents hurled bucket after bucket. Elderly grandpa with hose like flamethrower yelling, "Take back our summer." It was childish. It was ridiculous. It was glorious. HOA board members fled like pigeons in fireworks. One slipped on wet pavement. Papers flew like white birds in wind. Eviction notices soaked into pavement like disappearing ink. Pink Woman tried to speak, but water hit her mouth every time she opened it. One balloon burst on a clipboard, which snapped, authority dripping away. Neighbors laughed, but not cruelly. Joy returned like thunder. Cameras recorded. Phones streamed live. Within minutes, the internet watched. 68 viewers. 400. 2,100. 9,800 watching live. Comments exploded. Let them play. Down with HOA. Pink suit lady is done skull. For the first time, she looked rattled, like control was slipping between fingers. She tried retreating office door, but kids blocked entrance. Water guns raised like proud tiny soldiers. One yelled, "You shut down our fun, now we shut down yours." It was rebellion wrapped in innocence. An impossible fight. Pink Woman dropped her clipboard. Not place. Dropped. Paper slapped concrete with wet thud like surrender. But she wasn't done. She stepped forward, drenched, furious, eyes blazing red like warning lights. "You think this is a win?" she hissed. "They will shut your houses down. They will fine you until you beg. You are poking a giant, and you don't even see it." Daniel walked up, face calm as Summer Lake. "Maybe we needed a poke." Their eyes locked, storm versus flame. Children behind him loaded more balloons. Adults stood like wall of color, the entire street trembling with unity. Pink Woman exhaled, slow, shaky, unhinged. "You're not fighting me. You're fighting the system protecting me." Her voice quivered with rage, maybe fear. "You think water scares power? You think laughter wins battles?" Daniel leaned closer, almost whispering. "No, but silence loses them." Her throat tightened. For the first time, she looked human, wounded, cornered. She stepped back, not a retreat, a withdrawal, like predator choosing next move. "This isn't over," she said. "This was only the beginning." She walked away drenched to bone, suit clinging like defeat, but her eyes were sharp, like something waiting to strike back. Then, as if universe waited for signal, music blasted from someone's speaker. Laughter erupted. Kids jumped back into sprinklers. Parents opened coolers. Neighbors shared food like victory. Police officers arrived, but instead of stopping, they joined. One took a balloon to shoulder, laughed. Another held a slice of saved cake, frosting bright like redemption. Lila climbed a chair, dripping, glowing. "Rule number 1, she shouted. Everyone looked. She raised her water launcher overhead like sword. "No one shuts down fun." Cheers roared so loud even sky echoed. Daniel watched, heart full, chest burning with pride and relief. This was what they deserved, what they fought for. Freedom didn't taste like politics. It tasted like chlorine, sugar frosting, and revenge. The street became river. Sidewalks glittered with balloons like jewels. Sun blazed over victory. It wasn't just a party. It was a revolution disguised as play. Daniel felt it before he heard it. The shift. The air heavy again. His phone screen lit. HOA Legal Division. Urgent. His smile faded. Hands chilled. He answered. A male voice. Calm. Slow. Unnervingly confident. "Mr. Reyes, what you did today will cost you more than you understand." Heartbeat hammered ribs. Before he could reply, the voice added, "We're filing for neighborhood shutdown authorization. Effective immediately." Daniel froze. What does that mean? The man paused, like enjoying suspense. "It means when we're finished, there will be no more parties, no more gatherings, no more pool." His throat dried. "You can't do that." "Oh, we already have." The call ended. Daniel lowered phone slowly. Wind rustled wet balloons around his feet. The celebration still roared behind him, but it felt distant, muffled, fading. Pink Woman hadn't lost. She had retreated, to return stronger. Tomorrow would be fun. Tomorrow would be war, but with lawyers instead of balloons. The uprising was just the beginning. Morning didn't rise like usual. There was no warmth in the air, no soft breeze, no sound of sprinklers or children. It felt like the neighborhood was holding its breath, like something heavy had been dropped over Willow Creek during the night. Because overnight, everything changed. Daniel stepped onto his porch holding coffee that tasted like fear. His eyes scanned quiet streets where Victory water still glittered on concrete. Balloons lay deflated like memories. But something else was there, something new. HOA signs. Everywhere. Bold red, large, nailed into lawns like war decorations. Mandatory curfew. 8 p.m. No gatherings over 5 people. Pool access suspended. Failure to follow equals legal action. Every house. Every street. Every corner. Authorities stamped like chains. Neighbors stood silently reading, jaws tight, fists clenched, hearts heavy. Yesterday they laughed. Today they feared. That was the power of a system with teeth. Daniel inhaled deep through his nose, rage simmering his blood. Last night they fought with water. Today, HOA returned with law. He walked down driveways slowly, each step heavy. Lila followed, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Her birthday crown still on nightstand where she left it. "Daddy, are they mad we played yesterday?" He kept his voice steady for her sake. "They're mad we weren't scared." She nodded slowly, understanding more than adults expected. He turned back toward his house and froze. There was an envelope taped to his door. Not white, black, like a threat wearing paper skin. He ripped it open. Inside, one sheet. HOA formal hearing notice. Allegation, neighborhood disturbance incitement. Penalty, property seizure pending review. Date, 2 days. His stomach dropped. 2 days. 48 hours. Then court. Property seizure meant home loss. Eviction. No appeals. He looked up, neighbors watching. Some afraid to speak. Some angry but silent. Revolutions win battles, but empires win wars. For now, Daniel felt Lila slip her hand into his, her voice tiny. Daddy, are we going to lose home? He swallowed fire and fear. No, he lied gently. We fight smarter now. Because this wasn't water versus rules anymore. This was family versus system. By afternoon, nearly the entire neighborhood gathered in Daniel's yard. But not cheering, whispering, heavy, shaken. The same people who yesterday armed themselves with balloons now stood like survivors of battle. Wet celebration dried into worry. The old man with a hose spoke first. They're threatening eviction for everyone who joined. A woman with stroller added, My husband says we should just apologize and stop. We can't risk losing everything. A teen broke in. She shut down birthdays, lemonade, music. Fun. Now she want our homes? We can't bow. Voices rose. Arguments sparked. Division cracked unity. And worst of all, some began stepping back. Daniel saw fear winning. Fear always attacks from inside first. He raised voice above chaos. I know you're scared. I am too. But we didn't break anything. We hurt no one. We defended joy. We stood together when she told us life must be silent. He pointed down street where Pink Suit Woman's office stood like a bright wound in sunshine. She controls us because we let her. If we kneel today, we'll kneel forever. Silence settled. A heavy one, but listening. Then someone stepped forward. Officer Hayes, uniform crisp, eyes conflicted. He spoke quietly but powerfully. She has legal backing, a judge that favors her. The HOA board obeys her like soldiers. But she has weaknesses too. Everyone leaned closer. What weaknesses? Daniel asked. Hayes glanced around, voice dropping. There was a complaint years ago. A boy with special needs. She banned his wheelchair ramp. It made the news. She disappeared for months after public backlash. Some say she's terrified of being exposed again. Daniel felt spark ignite inside, like match-touched gasoline. Not water, not force. Exposure. That was kryptonite. Neighbors grouped, not for balloons this time. For evidence. For history. For truth. Teens dug in at archives. Mothers sifted through old community newsletters. Grandparents recalled stories whispered behind fences. Piece by piece, puzzle sharpened. They found her name. Vera Langford. Before HOA, she was teacher. Strict, feared, respected. Until a student. Handicapped boy named Jonah. Built ramp for class project. She removed it claiming visual disruption. Parents sued. Media erupted. Her reputation shattered. She resigned. Disappeared. Years later, she emerged here as HOA chair. New place. New power. New silence. A woman running from history, trying to control everything else instead. She wasn't evil. She was broken. Broken people enforce rules to avoid breaking again. Suddenly, Vera was a monster. She was wounded authority with claws. Daniel felt conflict twist inside. Revenge was fun yesterday, but today demanded something deeper. Not destruction. Truth. Tomorrow, Daniel said, voice low but sure. We take this to court, not to lose, but to expose. Neighbors nodded. Fear didn't vanish, but it transformed into purpose. This wasn't childish war anymore. It became a mission. Daniel tucked Lila into bed, but she didn't sleep. Daddy, she whispered softly, if they take our house, where do we go? His chest tightened like ribs were fists. He stroked her hair, gentle, trembling. We're not losing anything, baby, because tomorrow we speak loud. But what if loud isn't enough? He paused. A painful truth lingered. Sometimes loud fails. Sometimes justice bends. Sometimes systems win even when they're wrong. But then she said something so small, yet powerful enough to anchor a man. Even if we lose, I'll still have you. Daniel closed his eyes, tears burning behind lids. That was strength, not rebellion, not anger. Love. Love survives what rules destroy. He kissed her forehead. Tomorrow we fight for every home, every birthday, every voice. He stepped outside, looked at night sky. Stars didn't flicker, they glared, almost like they were waiting for tomorrow. And tomorrow would judge them all. Morning didn't feel like morning. Willow Creek woke silent, not peaceful silent, fear silent. Because while balloons dried from victory, HOA struck harder than water ever could. Bright red signs planted across the neighborhood. Curfew 8 p.m. No group gatherings. All pools closed until notice. And no compliance equals fines and eviction. Colorful rebellion now faced black and white law. Daniel stood outside holding a black envelope taped to his own door. Inside, a threat wearing legal ink. HOA hearing, 48 hours. Charge, inciting neighborhood disturbance. Possible penalty, loss of home. His fingers trembled, not from fear, from fury. Pink suit lady Vera Langford had attacked where it hurt most. Not the party, not the balloons. His home. Neighbors gathered, not laughing like war day, but whispering. Some ready to stand with him, others scared of losing everything. Courage yesterday was sunlight. Today it was shadow. That afternoon they met. Same spot, different energy. Officer Hayes revealed what nobody knew. Vera once worked as a school teacher. Strict, respected, until she tore down a wheelchair ramp built by a boy named Jonah. News exposed her. Career ended. Her fear wasn't noise. Her fear was rebellion. Rebellion ruins her control. Daniel suddenly saw something new. The enemy was strong, but human. Human means crackable. Plan changed. Not war. Exposure. They dug into archives, articles, court records. Found her story. Her fall. Her guilt. Her fear of the past resurfacing. Tomorrow was hearing. Not just for Daniel. For everyone. Night before trial, Daniel tucked Lila into bed. She looked up softly. If they take our house, do we still have each other? He hugged her harder than air. Yes. And tomorrow, we speak loud enough no one removes us again. Stars outside didn't shine. They watched, because tomorrow would break someone. Either Vera or Daniel. The hearing room didn't look like justice. It looked like a trap decorated with flags and polished desks, like authority performing honesty. Fluorescent white light hummed overhead, cold like hospital breath. The HOA board sat aligned like statues with no eyes, hands folded, expressions professionally blank. In the center sat Vera, the woman in bright pink. Hair tight, suit flawless. No sign she was ever drenched in balloons and humiliation. If yesterday was war, today was execution. Daniel entered with Lila's hand clenched inside his, not trembling, just small and warm like hope that refused to die. Behind him, one by one, neighbors filled seats. 10, 30, 50, more. No balloons today, weapons were words. The judge arrived, stern, gray, voice like machinery. Case 47A, HOA versus Daniel Reyes. Charge of public disturbance and inciting neighborhood unrest. Daniel rose. His voice was steady, but his heart roared like thunder. I didn't incite a riot, he said. I revive a neighborhood that had forgotten how to live. Vera smiled, polite, cold, rehearsed. With respect, Your Honor, she replied. He broke regulations, defied curfew, orchestrated an illegal gathering. Willow Creek must maintain order. Order. She loved that word like it was religion. Daniel stepped forward. And what about joy? What about community? What about children laughing without permission? Murmurs rippled behind him. Vera fired back, voice sharp. Rules exist for a reason. Daniel didn't yell, he softened. But who decided the reason? Silence. A thick silence, heavy like truth pressing against walls. Vera adjusted papers. I do. The board does. The HOA protects property value and peace. Daniel nodded, slow, painfully calm. So the wheelchair ramp you removed was that protection? Her face cracked. Barely, but enough. She blinked once, long. Gasps spread across the room like fire licking dry leaves. Nobody had expected that to surface. Daniel placed a printed article on judge's desk, headline bold. Teacher fired after removing disabled student's ramp. Community outraged. Vera froze, eyes wet, jaw locked, throat tight. Daniel continued, voice ablaze but gentle. You weren't protecting rules then. You were protecting control. Lila squeezed his hand, as if telling him, don't stop now. For years you've punished joy because you lost control once, he said softly. But we paid for pain that wasn't ours. Vera's facade fell slowly, like a tower realizing it hollow. She swallowed hard. My life fell apart after that story, she whispered. I lost career. Respect. I came here to rebuild structure so nothing collapses again. Daniel stepped closer, not with anger, but with understanding. Structure is fine, but walls built too high kill light. A neighbor stood, then another, and another. Voices rose, unified like heartbeat. She banned my son's skateboard. She fined us for tulips. She shut down birthday joy. She silences us instead of hearing. Not attack. Truth. Vera looked small for the first time. Pink suit bright, but trembling. Judge waited, then spoke slowly. HOA has authority, but authority cannot become abuse. He scanned papers, crowd, evidence. New ruling. Pool restrictions overturned. Curfews lifted. Fines canceled. HOA governance will undergo oversight for fairness and review. The room exploded. Gasps. Tears. Laughter breaking like sunlight through storm. Daniel didn't cheer. He exhaled. A breath 2 years stuck in his ribs. Lila jumped into his arms, laughing like bells. We won. We're free, Daddy. But Daniel turned to Vera, not smiling, not cruel, just human. You could join us, he said gently. No one heals alone. She looked up, eyes glossy, face tired, voice fragile. I don't know how. Daniel extended hand. Start small. Come to the pool. A shaky nod. Maybe forgiveness begins where water once felt like war. Sunset painted sky gold. The kind of color stories remember. Balloons floated again. Sprinklers glittered diamonds across grass. The pool rippled with life like yesterday never broke. Daniel grilled burgers, laughter growing like magic around him. The police officers joked over soda. Kids splashed without fear. Mothers danced like wind. Then, something unexpected. Vera arrived, not as Storm, not as Judge, as someone learning to breathe. No clipboard, no heels, just a bright pink suit, softer today, less armor, more person. Lila walked to her with cupcake. For peace, she said, smiling. Vera almost laughed, almost cried. She took it, a woman once feared, now sharing cake with the child she once made sad. Fireworks cracked above them. Colors bloomed across night, like joy finally untucked its wings. Music rose. Voices rose. Life rose back from silence. Daniel looked around, chest full like sky. Broken things didn't stay broken. They healed messy, loud, beautiful. Maybe the world didn't need rules. Maybe it needed understanding. And Willow Creek, the street once controlled by Pink, was alive again. Not perfect, not identical, not silent, just human. You can shut down a party. You can drown laughter. But you can't cage joy. Because the moment people stand together, rules become paper and life becomes loud again.